Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Grad Talks with Computer Engineer Society, Siliguri Institute of Technology. Today we have Subham Sarda, esteemed alumni and now a Googler from the batch of 2019 with us. He doesn't need any introductions of himself, but he has a great journey from our college itself to Google, from starting from Intel and then now at Google. So thank you, Shubham sir, for accepting our invite to be our guest for this alumni podcast series. This is our fourth episode. Could you give a brief intro, like how was your? Let's get back into our time of as now in few more days as I am a fourth year student. We will be our alumni, so we have to also recall back our memories. So it's great to have you back once more as an SITian, we can say.
Definitely.
So what was your let's go back, like what was your days in college, if you could share.
Sure. See, I was a studious guy, right? And I was, uh, traveling basically from home to college every day. So not not a lot of that fun, I could say, which maybe many of the folks get to enjoy being, staying in the hostel and staying with the friends and all of that. But despite that, right, 4 years in SIT, I think that was the foundation, right? That was the foundation to all that, all that we learned and that we are applying today, right? A lot of things, you know, don't really get used in our everyday things, but yet important, right? Important um, to also pass your semester exams. Right, so yeah, it was a good time, right? So uh, honestly, get once you get into the corporate, you don't really get a lot of time to think about a lot of things because it's so engaging, the day-to-day work. But when you think about it, there are a lot of things, right? The iconic canteen, right? The nearby tea
Oh yeah.
estate, right? All of those, bunking classes. Sometimes I was not in that, not in that group of folks who would regularly do that. But yeah, it was fun when we did. I recall those days where probably we once upon a time just bunked and went to city center. So, and of course, yeah, there were some
Actually,
assignments assigned to us after that by our maths teacher.
we also faced that. I faced that in most probably in first year second semester. So we were also just like we were in the traveling on the auto, and the teacher called us, you have to do
Yeah,
it. Sir, आज तो नहीं हो पाएगा.
yeah. So those are the days, right? Those are the days, those classes, having fun in the class sometimes, maybe sometimes having lunch in the class to enjoying those rainy season and the basketball court and stuff like that. The language lab class and the other labs, right? Yeah, those were good days actually. Those were good
Mhm.
days. Of course, not.
So basically, you are from Siliguri itself.
Yeah, yeah. I'm from Siliguri itself. I did my schooling from Jarmal's Academy till 10th and
Germans. Okay.
BSF Kadamtala for plus one and two. Um, yeah, that's what, right. So I think I chose computer science back then during my plus one and two, and I think I was pretty clear about what I wanted to choose as my stream. And post that, I joined SIT. There's another part to it actually. I had also applied for UPSC actually. I was interested in that, right? For NDA. Um, I, yeah,
India, yeah.
I cleared the whatever that written exam and stuff like that. Those exams are there. I went for the SSB interviews. Those went, there also you have those famous quants, right? Quantitative aptitude and qualitative aptitude and all of those. So I forgot the
Mhm.
duration, but yeah, you have to be there with all those candidates all over India which come, right? And you clear that, and post that you have a 5 days SSB stay. That was a very good
This is
experience. Unfortunately, I could not make through the uh, physical physicals, where you basically have multiple
Okay.
uh, military kind of
Multiple checks.
yeah, hurdles to cross. But yeah, anyways, right? So that was a good experience, and the reason I tell that is because I was more interested towards this side, which is why probably my preparation for entrance exam didn't go that well, and yeah, I missed the mains by a few numbers. And yeah, then I had a choice. I had a choice to go to another other private colleges, in other places in Kolkata and stuff. But one more choice
Mm-hmm.
was to stay back at Siliguri, do it from SIT, right? And I chose this path. And of course, there was always this path to drop for a year, prepare a long poll. But yeah, few of my friends did that. Few succeeded, few didn't. But I didn't choose it. I chose to join SIT. And
So you think like of there are many guys like in fact in our team or many in our SIT till date when I have a talk with the juniors they say that भैया एनडीए के लिए प्रिपरेशन कर रहा हूँ we are like somewhat NDA qualified. In fact, I have in our team of CES. Uh, just you before just coming back, there was a guy who is also an NDA trainer. I don't know if he qualified or not. So like they were also thinking of dropping, keeping a year. So what do you think? Like keeping a year gap and again going for like the thing that is in we can say the year gap that is probably the it's a like a good thing or a I don't think in the way of looking into the corporates it's a good thing like while going for the placements but does it helps in succeeding.
it depends, right? It depends on the perspective that you choose. So first of all, whenever you do that, right, there's always that question of probability which comes in, right? There's a 50% chance you may get
Hmm.
through. There's a 50% chance you may not, right? And if you get through it, like many people do it, right? Let's say prepare for mains, prepare for other competitive exams, and you know get through it, right? And then get to colleges like NITs or IITs or VITs and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
Of course, if you are able to crack it, if you have that amount of patience, it requires, right? It requires patience because you have other friends who are already into the college, right? And who will, uh, on paper, at least be 1 year senior than you, and hence into the corporate 1 year before you, and you don't know where that path leads to. Neither the other side is also true, right? There's also a 50% chance that you may do well and get into the so-called prestigious colleges. But now when I look back at it, I don't regret. I don't regret not taking the chance to drop. I don't regret not retrying for what do you say, competitive exams and so. The reason why I say that is because one is getting into the premier institutes, right? And that's definitely based on the competitive exams. But at the same time, the word itself says it's a competitive exams, right? On that day, in those
Yeah.
few hours that you get, maybe somebody did better than you, but that doesn't define you as a person, right?
Yeah.
So there are multiple famous sayings or quotes around this, and I don't want to quote them again, but it doesn't really define who you are as a person, right? Now, if you think you can, you can do better, if you think you can, or you wish to do something good, sure, don't drop. There's no need to drop. You can always get into the college of your choice, whatever options you have, of course. And in parallel, there are, like, I don't know, if you start listing down, you'll fall short of papers or prints, but you have n number of choices to learn from now. It's not like those olden days where you do not have a lot of options, right? Where you were solely dependent on the professors in your college, and of course, we, there is still
Yeah.
some dependency, right? And you have to get grades as well. But besides that, if you want to get proficiency in something, you have a number of choices. There are multiple platforms, there are multiple YouTube channels, paid, non-paid, free, this, that, multiple online resources to learn from, multiple books to read. So I don't think it should be a limiting factor for anyone. that hey, only if I get into IIT or NIT, then I can succeed, or then I can get into um a good corporate
MNC.
job or a yeah
Good,
MNC.
yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, there you get more options.
So we can come to a conclusion with that from a tier three or a tier three basically a tier three college also someone like especially you are an example to one of leading what we can say the FANG or the bank companies. So this tired thing doesn't like keeps a obstruction for any obstacle for any of that like who wants to succeed,
That's true. Not only me, right?
or whether there keeps or I just want to add one thing, or whether there keeps a one kind of percentage that college involvement like along with the support college support should also be there.
Right. So first thing is not only me. There have been so many examples, right? So many people placed in multiple places, government organizations and other MNCs, some in India, some outside India, UK and all that stuff, US and stuff. Some probably have their own startups. There are so many examples, right? And those examples kind of tell you that, hey, it's not really necessary. If you can get there, good. You get more options. Definitely you get more options. There's no doubt about it. You get more exposure. But if you can't get there, it's not the end of the world, right? You have many other options to explore. All that companies look for is whether you are skilled enough, right? If you are skilled enough, sure, companies will take, because at the end what they look for is who can get my work done. Your IIT tag doesn't matter, or your NIT tag doesn't matter, right? So yeah, eventually you start from somewhere and then you build upon it. You can start from a smaller company, you can get to a startup, you can get to companies like service companies like TCS and all, but that's not the end, right? You can start from TCS, keep upskilling yourself, let's say for example, right, and then join the company you want based on the skill set you have and the domain which interests you.
Okay, so let's get back to one of the memories like you could like share with us from the SIT that still keeps you sometimes like hits you on your mind like वो क्या दिन थे but like वैसा कुछ any of one of the memories that you could share with your juniors because it's over 5 to 6 years you have been passed out I guess so.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? So while I'm a pass out of 2019, I think I did my formal college for 3 years. Fourth year was completely internship for me. That's when I was at Intel. um,
Yeah.
and those were, I don't know to call them good days or bad days, but yeah, I was at Intel doing internship. But college days always good, right? You have your small group, or small or large, whatever it is, right? You have your group who you can you know call, and it's that stage, right, where you can call them any time of the day. Nobody sleeps.
Nobody sleeps, yeah.
If you're a gaming enthusiast, sure, there are groups who folks who game like anything. Back then people used to play, they were crazy about this CSGO and stuff, and some people were busy with their catching their Pokemon balls or whatever. What was that game? Pokemon Go. Yeah,
Pokemon Go game.
and some were
Yeah.
busy playing Clash of Clans. But right, you find similar people, right? You exchange similar thoughts. So I think that is one thing which I kind of, and it gets difficult. See, once you get out of college, right, it gets difficult to always be in touch with folks. It's not by intent. You do not intend to not be in touch, but it's a choice that you sometimes do not have, right? Your timings need to match when you meet up again. You have a lot of things to discuss probably, but not everything can be discussed on call. How long will you be on a call, right? How long will you uh, you know stay up? So it's those things which that it's that phase where you can probably, even if you have a uh, of course, speaking technically, if you have any ideas or thoughts you want to implement, you want to work on some project, you can just go up, you can work on it, in parallel to your projects, in parallel to your college. And if you want to play some sport, you want to go to the gym, you want to just hang around somewhere in Siliguri around the Bagajatin Park, you can just go anytime you want and just hang around with people. I think that is something which is difficult to continue once you get out of college. Yeah.
So let's now, like, we had some memories of you with us as a recorder. So let's the main thing that every episode we keep a touch on this topic, and the main interesting topic that every junior skip on, that is about the placements. So what was like your placement journey? Like, was it the first company that Intel came and you cracked it?
Yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, my placement journey was very small. And I keep, when I think about it, I keep, uh, you know, I do sometimes discuss with my colleagues and close friends that Google was perhaps my first proper interview because the one at college, that was an interview for internship. And generally, at least back then, I don't know
Yeah.
what's the scenario now, but at least back then, the interviews were, or at least I felt it was not so stringent and not so difficult to crack. Again, that's what I feel. But yeah, it was, I think, a pool of 150 or so people and other folks from other colleges in Kolkata, basically Techno India group. Right, it was a pool campus that happened at
Hmm.
Siliguri, and folks from other Techno India colleges were also there. And I think there was some percentage based cutoff there. I don't percentage or whatever it is, right? GPA basically. The GPA based cutoff was there.
Okay.
So yeah, whoever managed to cross that cutoff sat for the interview, and fortunately, I was able to get through it. And of course, I was not allowed to sit for any other interviews post that. So that was my journey. Yeah, I
So
mhm.
basically,
Yeah, just to
uh,
complete that, I am
yeah,
not very sure. Even today, I don't know if there would have been a chance to, let's say, sit for another interview. I am still not sure I would have sat or not, and I don't have answer for that. So I think I was contained, and yeah, I think it was a good interview.
so how many rounds were there,
No
like
rounds. It was just
in
one.
Intel?
It was
Was it?
just one round, which probably lasted for some 7-10 minutes, barely, or maybe less. Yeah, I think some 7 to 10 minutes. That's all. That's
That's it.
all. Some few basic C questions, malloc, calloc, a project that I worked on, and yeah, some stack
So
heap.
was
That's
it
all.
of like it's was of software developer, right?
See, when you go for internship and when there is this pool kind of hiring, there is no defined role
Hmm.
as such.
Okay.
I know people who were placed, or rather, people who got that internship offer in that round were not put only in software. Some were in software, some were in hardware, some were into this equipment calibration, right? So equipment calibration meaning you have some equipments in the lab, let's say for example a simple voltmeter or ammeter. Even that you'll require to
Hmm.
calibrate so that the readings that you are getting out of those are correct to some extent. You can rely on those. So now imagine of that on a bigger scale where you are measuring, let's say, mobile phone signals and all of that stuff, right? On
Yeah.
field stuff. So RF signals. Yeah, so somewhere into that role also. So the role was not really defined. We didn't know what our JD
So
was.
basically, it was in like internship,
That's true.
basically, and then conversion to
Correct.
full time.
Correct. It was a full first year. Sorry, it was a 1 year internship, and I think that was the first batch of 2019 that got a opportunity for a 1 year internship. Prior to that, I believe it was a 6 months internship. Yeah, for Intel, with Intel at
Okay.
least. So yeah,
And was like there was any aptitude
nah,
rounds
nothing.
or anything?
There was no aptitude round, nothing.
Nothing.
As I said, there was just a CGPA based cutoff. That's all. And as I told you, I was a studious
So
person, so I was able to.
so so like how many, like, could you recall like how many number of people like get got into that in Intel at that time? Mass.
Recently, our training and placement officer, Mr. Nirmal Banik, shared a picture of that. I really don't remember. It was some
Yeah,
40 or something
I went
students.
with that.
Yeah,
I went with
yeah,
that. Yeah. Name also went
yeah.
that.
There,
Yeah.
I think there were about 40 students or so that were selected. Out of all those were,
That's a
that's a
huge
big
number,
number.
in
Yeah,
fact.
you can fill a bus with that.
So like you had a solid journey. So basically, your we can say your proper interview was of Google. So how is like the scenario in Google then? If you think as a fresher yourself as a Google and your interview would have been
I would probably,
at Google.
I don't know, depending on the role. I've read multiple posts where people say there are like multiple rounds of interview, like five to six rounds. Mine was 3 rounds, and generally for this team, it's 3 rounds of proper interviewing,
Okay.
three technical rounds, I mean. And to that, if you basically add your initial phone call as a round, then yes, 4 rounds, and then there is one behavioral kind of round. Call it googliness round.
HR and
I wouldn't say it really
okay.
HR, but yeah, at Google they call it googliness round. So
Googleness.
yeah, you can just
Googleness.
YouTube that and you'll get multiple, or Google it and you'll get multiple articles about how it is, and multiple people who share their experiences and so. But yeah, overall it was a 3+1 round. So yeah, 3+1 round. And as a fresher, I don't know would I have been able to crack it or not, but yeah, at least here I was able to. And I think it was after uh, it's been 2 years at Google, so 23, I think, which is roughly 5 years. Yeah, after 5 years of Intel, I think I joined Google. Yeah,
So could you please like share some of your experience as a like you worked in 9 projects we can like count in
yeah,
Intel.
that's what I.
So what was your experience in
Yeah,
Intel?
it was a very good experience, right? Right. So first of all, you're a student. Right. I mean, I would still call
Yeah.
myself a student back then because I joined as an intern. And the day when I joined, I still remember it was, I think, Intel's basically my joining day, right? 18th July 2018, I believe. So 18th July, and that specific day happened to be Intel's uh, global, globally, like 50 years for Intel. So there was a big celebration
Wow.
there. So yeah, that memory is still alive. It was 18th July. Uh, Yeah, and post that it was a learning curve. Of course, I was in a team where I was not able to completely connect on what exactly we were working on, because you'll always have that disconnect, right? Because you do not have real prior experience of working at an MNC before that. So you're always clueless what's going on and how to deal with things. But eventually you catch up, right? Eventually you catch up, and 1 year is good enough for time to learn things and do stuff. So initial 6 months I can say was more of a ramp phase, and post that the real work started. So back then when I was an intern, there was this I was working on this cellular technology, basically this 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever you have. And
Okay.
they used to prepare, basically we used to deliver software for the modem that we, or the chip that used to go for iPhones. And I don't know which generation was that, I forgot, but it was the first time when Apple had launched a it's dual SIM or multi SIM. I don't know,
Okay.
that was
Okay.
iPhone 10 or something, and that was a big thing, right? We had a big event for that. It was in Bangalore, of course, yeah, and we had a big event for that because it was a big thing, right? First time you launching dual SIM. Of course, there were other phones in the market which already had dual SIM since ages, but for Apple, as you know, they work a lot on their quality, and only when they're able to attain a certain quality of their testing and stuff do they launch stuff, right? So yeah, that was a big thing for me. Just imagine if a college graduate who's just joined a company, not even a graduate, right? I was not even a graduate that time. A college student who joined MNC and working on some project which is delivered to Apple, and then that's your first feature. And I'm still proud of it, right? My code runs on those iPhones. Some of those features are there even today. So
Some of the
yeah,
features. So sometimes if you are scrolling into that, if you get that iPhone X, we can say if it's 10, I also don't recover
it was
whether it's 9
X.
or 10.
Yeah, X.
S- yeah,
10.
iPhone X. So you will think that हाँ ये तो मैंने ही लिखा था.
Um, yeah,
ये तो मेरा
I
हाथ.
don't use iPhone.
Yes.
I don't use iPhone, but yes, I'm proud of the fact.
So
Yeah.
if you get a chance,
Yep.
you may use now Pixel is there,
I
right?
do have a Pixel. Yes.
Yeah, so that's what.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
So
good.
like
Yeah,
now,
it's good.
yeah.
Those things you remember. Those things when you are so young and you're just out of college. Not even out of college. Again, I keep forgetting. But when you're just as an intern working, then those things stick with you, and they stick with you for, I hope, life.
So what was the conversion rate? Like suppose if I come into that 40 people did convert into that PPA.
So again, that was
Cause this time, see many companies comes on post who offers internship. As Intel gives an opportunity for 1 year, many companies come up with 6 months, and people don't cope up with that 6 months. Like they like जानते जानते वो 6 महीने खत्म हो जाता है. So people like struggle and they did not get that full time. So what was wrong?
so there are a lot of things, right? Many companies offer not also for 3 months. I know Google has a summer internship and stuff that is for a few weeks. I can say I don't know. Yeah,
Few weeks,
but
yeah.
back then it was at least I would say for me, I had the offer, right? I got the offer before I completed 1 year, but I can say it was a tragic
Hmm.
moment for everybody who was working in the department for Intel because the department was shut, unfortunately, because Apple decided to build their own uh, something. I think they decided to build their own code or something. They decided not to take the chips anymore from Intel, basically, right? And then that complete department was shut. Now I have that offer in hand, but I don't know what to do with that offer. Whether that offer will actually be honored, there were speculations because for the full timers, the people who are not interns, the people who are proper employees and experienced folks, they had a choice to try outside in other companies or to sit for Apple interviews. And if you manage to clear Apple interviews, go work for Apple if you wish to, or go to any other company that you want where you can, get through. But for us, that choice was not there. So, as anybody else would do, I was confused. I didn't know what to do. I spoke to a few people, to my manager. Even they didn't know what to do. But yeah, so I did sit for a few other. I didn't really sit, but I started preparing for others, and that is when I kind of uh, got an email from the HR that hey, I was moved to another team, right, which works on hardware, basically the chips that you
Yeah.
have in your the SoCs that you have in your laptops, the i3s and the i5s and the i9s.
Hmm.
So it was that team where I was moved to. Again, there was no interview. I got to know that few other people who were in this department that got shut down. They were interviewed before moving, but again, fortunately or unfortunately, I did not have any interviews and I was moved.
Fortunately.
I hope so. So yeah, again,
So whether it wasn't like a shift from a software
it
to a
was right.
hardware
It
totally.
was a big shift. I didn't know. See, first of all, this was while I was developing software, but I was developing software for
Hmm.
communications, 3G, 4G, 5G. I
Yeah.
hated that subject like anything in college.
That analog and digital electronics or
Yeah, you
something like
have that
that, or
where you study those
computer
PWMs and
networks.
those communication related stuff and networking. So I
Hmm.
didn't. I was not a big fan of
Computer.
that. I was more into like digital. Of all electronics that we studied in college, I probably liked only the digital electronics parts. But
Hmm.
yeah, so I was in that software development role, yet not very comfortable with it. But yeah, eventually I managed. Then I was moved to this hardware role, which initially back then I was not sure what is happening, how are we going to work, what are we going to work on, and that team itself was a completely new team. And I think that time after
Hmm.
I joined the team, we literally had a meeting of some 12 people who were discussing what needs to be done and how it needs how it needs to be done. We have a chip in the lab. Now the question is, what do we do out of that chip and how do we test it? Of course, there were other sites in Israel and other places where there were more experienced people. So of course, we eventually learned from them and whatever experienced people we had here. So they gave like multiple rounds of trainings and basically 1 hour knowledge sharing sessions, I can say, right? So we learned, okay, these are the things that are going on. Then we were assigned certain uh, role, and then we tried to deliver to that role, sometimes successful, sometimes unsuccessful, but yes, we managed. And then rest is history, right? We have chips in out in the market, and some of the chips Also, um, got some world records for multiple things.
Wow.
Yeah. So overclocking is one of those things which I worked on, and yeah.
Overclocking. Yeah.
So back then, yeah, it was a really good journey. If I have to summarize it, I think that was a journey where I kind of moved or transformed from almost hating hardware to start liking it. That is what Intel gave me. So forever.
Yesterday I was having a discussion with the TPU, now TPU. He was saying that you need to be flexible in the corporate. They may say like you are proficient in Python, but they may like take you to Java in 2 3 months. They may switch you to C, C++, anything. So that's thing I can feel from you. In fact, like they entirely changed from a software to a hardware guy.
Right, that happens, that happens. And even in hardware, right, another example is I was in Intel, right, working for laptop SoCs. Those SoCs are this large in size, right? You have everything in there in that SoC. Those consume power like anything. You take measurements of like 300 350 watts. Your entire home can run for that power, with that amount of power. And then you start working on these phones, right? These phones which have chips which are probably smaller than the size of your thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you don't have that liberty of supplying as much power as you can. It doesn't work directly on AC. So that was also a major shift for me, actually, from again coming from Intel to Google. Again, Intel architecture doesn't work on phones so far, at least. It works on ARM architecture, right? And
Hmm.
Intel architecture is different, ARM architecture is different. Yes, fundamentals remain the same, but still, it's a major architecture overhaul and things to learn, right? So yeah, it has been a good shift, I can say. It has been a good shift from college to internship to into that hardware validation role for Intel SoCs, and from there again to Google. It has been a very good experience and a lot of learning.
So, for these students, like nowadays, the entire syllabus got changed. In your time, you used to had many other chapters or syllabuses, but the entire syllabus got changed.
Good.
Like, yeah, the entire it got very much easier
Oh, is it?
nowadays, I can say.
Okay.
Mm. Only the six. My only one paper is left, but to many people still that some few subjects that still haunts you. Any of the subject that haunts you.
I think physics.
I can provide you examples.
I think physics. Quantum physics.
Quantum physics. And for any of the CS subjects like flat, CD, computer architecture.
No, honestly. Computer architecture was very interesting, and I'm glad I studied that. Computer architecture and operating systems. I'm glad that I studied that, and that's my like day-to-day thing that I do now, or have been doing so far. I'm so glad that I liked that subject and studied it, but it was a tough time to.
Compiler design.
Not so much. That is again something which we work on. I don't work on it directly, but sometimes we have to do some tweaks here and there. Not exactly into the design, but the way you handle or deal with
Hmm.
compilers and the different flags you have. But one subject which I remember gave me a little bit tough time was this DSA, remembering so many algorithms. Knowing that you're not
Hmm.
going to use those algorithms all that often, it was a good learning. It's needed for software folks, but it's also difficult to remember so many algorithms, their different big O's and small O's and space and this complexity and all. It was difficult initially to cope
Theta,
up. Yeah,
omega.
yeah,
So we can say DSA.
yeah, to
So we
some
can say.
extent. Yeah. But it was fun as well. Yeah.
What are the Yeah, so like as you have been like now successfully as a hardware guy, so any tips for the juniors, those who are like into hardwares, some tips or suggestions or anything,
No real tips. I mean, you don't learn hard.
or any skills they should look into upon very necessarily or subjects.
See, one thing which I saw back then, which I was when I was in college. Again, there's nothing bad about it, and we can clearly see the outcomes. But back then, people were so concentrated around all these ML and AI and stuff like that, and building projects on those and stuff. That's good. That's good. No problem with that. But at the same time, some basic things were getting ignored or are still probably ignored, and that basic is C. C is a very big language. At least being in this domain, I can say C is a huge uh, advantage to always have. If you know C, and if you know C in and out, then you can pretty much fit anywhere you want, right? So again, when I was interning, I was writing code in C++ and little bit of Java here and there. When I was in Intel, I was writing code in Python with very minimal C or C++. Now in Google, everything is C. At least what I work on, everything is C. No, not even C++,
Hmm.
only C. Right, and that we call as embedded C. There's no difference. Everything is
Embedded.
same. Embedded C versus C. There's no real difference. Back then we used to have questions, but there's no real difference. It's only about how you deal with things. One is dealing with things at the software level. Other is dealing with things at hardware level. You interact. Use pointers day to day, in and out, and in some or the other forms. Right. Pointer structures, linked list, this, that, arrays, stuff like that. Memory, dynamic memory allocation, this, that. But my point is the basics need to be strong. The only If you are able to focus only on your basics, and if your basics are absolutely strong, your foundation is strong, then you can pretty much get to anywhere you want. And that is the expectation even the employers have from a engineer or upcoming engineer, right? You should not require to be trained on basic things like C and stuff which you already have in your college curriculum or school curriculum nowadays, right? And that's the entire purpose of having that subject in there, so that you can be proficient in it.
So with the rise of like AI, now we have got AI is there. Now we have got specialized branches of CSE in data science, AI. So how do you see like evolving this as in a part of a hardware impacted?
um, See, I look at it, I think, as a tool, right? I look at AI as a tool, to be honest. I don't think it's going to replace any engineer so easily. Yes, some of the redundant job and bookkeeping jobs and stuff like that can still be replaced to some extent, but you cannot 100% replace, at least where the point we are today. We cannot 100% replace everything. You cannot have AI replacing human outrightly, because you still need to have a human to tell the AI
Train
what
AI.
needs to be done, right?
Hmm.
AI is of no use if you do not know how to use it. You can give all those rubbish prompts to AI and it will just learn those. And there were so many memes and stuff like that when uh, this one, what's that called? ChatGPT was initially launched, right? But to
Hmm.
really derive something meaningful out of it, you need to know what you need to derive out of it. And on top of that, you always need to form tweaks. It's not that AI will always give you the correct answer the first time. Maybe it will give you like 60% correct. Then you refine your prompt a little bit more. Then you get, let's say, 75%. Then you keep refining until you get a good.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's still there. Like if you give into ChatGPT, like what is the answer of 2 plus 2, he will say 4. If you again say no, it's 5, then okay, it's 5.
correct. So
So that's the
yeah,
thing.
you always need a human brain to refine, right? You can write fancy code with, as they call it, what, vibe coding these days. You can go for vibe coding, but if you don't understand the vibe, if you don't get the vibe, then what is the use of that code? You still need to see, because I'll tell you what happens. It's good for some small things, but when you are running a, working in a company which deals with big projects, when the project complete entire database, when the company deliverables to customers are at stake, you don't fully rely on code, only on code generated by AI, because there is still some custom sauce in there which you have to apply in order to get things done in a more efficient and the right way, right? Why do you think every company is behind building their, let's say, own chips, behind building their own or designing their own associates? Because they require that custom sauce in order to get an advantage over others, right? So yes, AI is good, AI is developing, AI will probably be the future, but not the only thing. At the same time, we also constantly need to upskill ourselves in order to cope up with it.
So any of the as a fresher or as a like student, is internship
Oh,
necessary?
definitely. Internship gives you
So
an advantage.
suppose as a fresher who did not being able to like land into an internship, then
Okay, if you put things that way, then let me tell you this. While internship is, I think, necessary, I would still use the word necessary. I think internship is still necessary in order to get experience, and it is not always mandatory that you need to have a 1 year internship. You can also have an internship which spans for 1 month, right? It can
yeah.
also be an internship for 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, 12 months, whatever, right? Whatever be the duration, and it's always not necessary that you always do internship with only one, let's say, company or whatever, right? Or you can do
Hmm.
internship with 4 different places, for example, right? Somewhere you do a 1 month internship, somewhere you do a 6 months internship, somewhere you do a 2 months internship. It's completely up to you. It's up to you what kind of company that you want to work on. It's up to uh, of course, opening should be there. They should be recruiting interns, but at the same time, it's also not necessary that you need to wait for your college in order to secure you internship. You you have semester breaks. You have what is that called? Breaks. I hope between 2 years also. So you can definitely use those breaks to go and intern with some company. It's enriching, right? It gives you
Hmm.
experience. It gives you insights on how companies work, how the culture inside is, um, how to even things change, right? How you talk to people, how you acknowledge
Yeah.
things, how you write emails, those basic small things, those small things, those things look very small, but they do matter at the end. When they add up, they do matter. So it gives you all of that experience. It gives you the opportunity to make mistakes and, of course, learn from them. So it's very good. It's good to have. It's good to have internships, and definitely if you can get one, why not? And it could be any domain. Doesn't matter technical, non-technical. You don't think about that. You do internships to understand the culture, and it gives you that learning.
So nowadays the situation, as I already had a talk with you, the situations for society or the job market is, we can say, a bit declining. So what is the advice for the
Skill
students?
set.
Those will be graduating in just those will be graduating in 1 year, and those will be graduating in less 1 month, as a as you have been into of the great companies.
See, it's all about skill set, right? At the end, when you think about it from the perspective of a company, the question is why should you be hired? Because you're not
Hmm.
working for free, right? At the end, company pays you in whatever terms and
Hmm.
means. So the question comes, right? And it is a good question to have, right? Why should you be hired? And why only you? Why not the other person? So it's
Yeah.
only your skill set, your attitude towards work, your communication skills, your uh, ability to learn. All those things matter, right? It is that which will give you an edge over anybody else. So I think the whether somebody has landed a job already or not, whether somebody is already having an internship or not, no matter, doesn't matter. At the end, what matter, even if you have a job offer, you cannot get complacent. You you should still continue to learn and upskill, because every role is replaceable. That is definitely which is something I can say, having looked at things with about 8 years, seven, I don't know what, 7 years now. Every role is
Mm.
replaceable. Nobody is waiting for you, and as you say, right, the input and output of engineers. So I mean, the number of engineers that are graduating, sorry, students that are graduating, and there's no shortage, right? Number of roles are less. There's no demand and supply problem here. Maybe demand is less, supply is more. So in order to
Mm. On an average 15 lakhs per year.
yeah, whatever the number is, right?
only
So
from India.
in order to make yourself fit for that role and get through it, it's a competition at the end. You have to have an edge, and if you don't have an edge, then nobody can save you, I'll say. So you need to have an edge and have the right skill, and it's not only technical skills, mind you. You need to have non-technical skills also. It's very important.
What keeps you motivated during like those
Sure.
debugging nights or that days?
It's a good question. It depends, right? It depends on what the situation inside your mind is. When you're frustrated, I think money keeps you motivated. When you are not so frustrated, probably getting to the end of the solution keeps you motivated to learn that thing, keeps you motivated, right? This What is at stake, if that doesn't get resolved, that is also a motivation, right? There are multiple factors, right? The project, right? If you are able to do something or contribute to the project in any way, uh, such that it can be of help to that project that you're working, extra help to that project which you're working, that is also a form of motivation. So yeah, there are a lot of things, but I think it's the learning at the end. Yeah, sometimes debugs can be frustrating. I told you the other day I was in a debug whole day, whole night, and next day I didn't have any energy, yet I was working that day. But sometimes it can be very draining, and we call it burnout. But I think at the end it's the learning that comes out of that debug which is very important when you look back at it. So all the debugs that I have been a part of so far, in whatever duration it has been, right, at Intel and Google, I think all of those debugs have been very rewarding in terms of the learning that I have obtained out of it. And let's say if you want to switch or apply for some other roles and you land a job interview, they would mostly ask about some interesting debug that you might have done, what was the criticality and how did you go about it. So yeah, it's that learning that matters.
So let's go on some quick rapid fire questions now.
Oh,
A few from like
I'm scared of rapid fires.
our team. No, no, no. It's a bit easy. Like let's start. So tea or coffee?
Coffee. Coffee.
Coffee. Mac or Windows?
Windows.
Early bird or a night owl?
Both.
Both. So,
Yeah.
so it depends on the day or what. Like Monday I am a night owl and Tuesday I am an early
No, it
bird.
depends on the stage of your life and stage of your career. At this stage of my life and my career, I am a night owl as well as early bird all the days. I go to bed around 1, I wake up by 5. So 1, 1, 2,
Oh
whatever.
my
But
god.
yeah, yeah,
So like one gadget you can't live without.
probably phone. Phone and office laptop.
Phone, office laptop.
Both.
And a hobby that you picked up recently?
Honestly, a lot of time hasn't there isn't a lot of time to pick up hobbies, but I've started getting more interested towards traveling. So yeah, traveling.
So if it's traveling, then mountain or beaches?
Both. Depends on the weather.
Depends on.
Yes.
So one of the book that really influenced you.
I don't read
One book,
books.
if you love. I get a connection with you then. Then any series or movies that you recently watched and that influenced, kept like.
Again, no such movies that influenced me. I only watch what I understand. It is Hindi, English, whatever. I don't care about the language, but there are multiple movies, but it depends. I think. Yeah, honestly, there isn't a good answer. There are multiple aspects of life, and then there are multiple movies which influence each of those. So yeah.
What is the like any of the app or interesting app that you use a lot or you use it lately?
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
I think I use YouTube quite a bit.
YouTube. What was your dream job as a kid? As a when you were in school or
I kept changing, but the latest thing was getting into army, which I could not. But yeah,
one word your friends would describe you as
It depends. Good friends are very good friends. Some would describe me as rude, some would describe me as uh, angry, and some would describe me as a jolly person as well. It depends.
So if you get an opportunity like a dinner with one of the tech leader of the world, who would it be?
Very difficult question. Very difficult question.
Final question.
Oh. Ah, let me tell Sundar Pichai.
Let me tell Sundar. So Sundar Pichai, now he is in connection with you
No,
at
it's
a
not
lot.
about that only. It's about the vision.
Did you get a fortunate to meet
No,
him? Not yet.
it doesn't happen so quick unless you get really lucky. Yeah. No, it's about the vision actually, right? It's about the vision because there are many great leaders, and it's not that he's the only one, of course. There are many others who have built amazing companies, but it's also about the vision, how you see things.
Mhm,
See, a simple, very simple example that I'll give you is ChatGPT was the first mover in this LLM thing and generative
mhm,
AI, correct? I think
mhm.
other first major one I can say that kind of
Major one,
brought
yeah.
all of these things into the market so badly. Google was not the first one, and ChatGPT was built by
Mm,
OpenAI, who was probably not in association with Microsoft also back then, at least directly. But post that, you got Gemini, you got multiple models in Gemini, multiple upgrades in Gemini. I don't say ChatGPT is bad. Some things ChatGPT does good, some things Gemini does well, some things somebody else does well. And sometimes there are some things on which
mhm,
all of those fails. But it's that vision which, you know, someone has. How you can see having one LLM or generative AI thing is one thing. You can use your browser, open ChatGPT, you can use your browser, you can open Grok AI, you can open anything, any Gemini, whatever. But
yeah.
it's about how you integrate all of those things and how you integrate the technology into your date into everybody else's day-to-day lives. A simple example
Mm,
is Google search. Earlier you used to browse through
mm,
multiple listings on that page, but now you get a nice little summary at the top of your page which almost all the time answers
mhm,
questions, right?
yeah.
Integrating those Gemini into phones, right? Bringing into phones, doing those quick tasks, Google Assistant, right? The voice assistant, sorry, those
Yeah, yeah.
quick
Voice assistant.
suggestions that you can get when you're typing something or on Gmail or stuff like that. It's about all of that holistic integration, which at the end matters how useful it can get to. Uh, how useful can it be for the people that are using it, right? So that is where I think Gemini did well so far. That's what I feel. Yeah, it's about the integration.
So in, yeah, Gemini, nowadays we are looking into it. Like in Gmail also
Yeah,
recently it got
yeah,
included in
yeah.
Gmail.
And
Like
it's
just
available in
type it
multiple forms, right? You have Gemini Flash and I don't know advanced and what all variants are there,
many
right?
things.
So you can integrate it with your what is that called? Your IDEs, I think. Even yeah,
IDs, yeah, with the
correct,
APIs, I
correct.
guess.
You
Yeah.
can build so many things out of it and extensions, this, that. But it's about that vision, right? How somebody can think how to integrate uh, this tool. Again, I call it a tool as a means to change or at least to have an impact on how people are using that tool, right? um, so yeah, it's about that vision, and I'm really impressed by that vision, at least I can say.
So as a as a fresher, like product-based companies does not take, but as a fresher, service-based company or product-based company?
Nothing is bad. I won't say service based companies are I won't say service companies are bad. I won't say product companies are always good. You can get into a product company but end up not getting connected with the goal they have or the vision they have, and then end up getting frustrated out of it. At the same time, you can also get into a service company, you can work on the projects, you can also get your own time, free time, travel time, leisure time, learning time. You can learn, you can get into other companies. So it's not really about the company that you get into, it's about, again, I kept saying this, but It's again about how you adapt to it, how you get used to it, and how you can use that as an opportunity to again upskill yourself.
So nowadays India is seeing a startup rise. You can see many companies, many startups. Like one of the startup is like Zoho. Zoho is there, and like so any like what is your thinking for these startups or any startup that you think that is growing a lot in India has
Yeah,
emerged?
I mean, it's become a startup hub, right? In every corner
Mm-hmm.
of the country, there's a smaller, big startup, right? A small, big, or medium. I mean, I don't know if you watched this show Shark Tank, but at least I watched that Shark Tank India,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm kind of
Yes.
amazed not because of how the show runs, but I'm amazed because how the people are thinking, right? Whether they get an opportunity at or an offer there or not, but it's about how Indians are starting to think. And there are so many things
From every
from
point of the
every part
country.
of the country, and ranging from food, what is that called, QSRs, to food delivery business, to plants, to grocery, to healthy snacks, to healthy whatever, right? Touch anything and they are doing. Recently I saw something related to bionic arms and stuff like that. So startups are
Mm-hmm.
coming up in every aspect, and sorry, from every corner of the country, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the country. It's a good thing for the people of the country because it also provides employment, right? But at the same time, there are many, and not all startups succeed, right? I mean, as they say, grass is always greener on the other side. So while it feels like, hey, I want to start a startup, I want to build a startup, again, there's that probability how much conviction you have on the idea that you have. If you have very strong conviction, if you have a good team, well, go for it. But if you're not having that conviction, right, and things might go the other way also. So people always, there's a problem with people, I'll tell you actually. People always try to promote the positive side of things, but there are also numerous startups that didn't work out, that failed, right? Right.
Yeah.
So that is also another part. So it's about sometimes about conviction, sometimes about priorities, sometimes about what you want, what you really want to do. It's sometimes also about what kind of zone that you want to be in. Do you want to be in a safer zone, comfort zone, where at the end of the month you'll get a salary, or you want to go for research, or you want to build a startup, have a business, take all that risk, take all that responsibility. Or sometimes also there's another part to it, whether you want to have an impact on the country or the earth or the community and so on. So it's about all those factors which come together in order to give you a final yes or no, that hey, what I want to go for. So all those factors must be considered.
Okay. So we are at the end of the session. Just a small, any one word, like one word journey of your like SIT in one word. This is a common questions for all our alumni.
Yeah,
So one
yeah.
word.
See, one thing, right? I'm pretty sure. So whatever situation, whether again somebody has a job offer or not, somebody has an internship offer or not, it doesn't matter. At this point, it might be feeling like a mounting pressure on you, but I'd say don't take it as a pressure. Just take it as a another day, right? And it's important to not succumb to that pressure. It's important to get through it. To deal with that pressure and go through it. I can tell that okay, I was fortunate to get through it within a go, but then I had friends who could not,
Mhm.
right? I had friends who started with some very I don't know, not even a not even a technical role kind of a thing, but now they're doing good.
Mhm.
So it's not the end, right? What is important is to deal with it, and it will pass. It's just another day, because every interview, good or bad, will teach you something. It's only important that you should be open to learn from it. I have been in that situation, right? I told you that department got shut, and I was in that exact
Mhm.
same situation. I
Yes.
didn't have any choice.
Yes.
I didn't have any offer. I had an offer in hand, but I didn't know what to do of it, and I didn't have any option to go for college placement as well, right? So but things work out, things work out in their own ways. Sometimes they don't, and then you go, and many people do some other courses or learn from other places, and eventually get through get through it. So it's never an end. It's never an end. It's only important to, yeah, it might sound a little bit of philosophy, but it's only important to believe in yourself. And if you think you can do it, you can do it. Opportunities are there. Even if we say that the market is not good, it's bad, it depends what is the definition of good and bad, right? It's a relative thing. What might be good for you might not be good for me, and vice versa, right?
Good for me. Yeah.
So opportunities are still there, but it's only about uh, having the right mindset, the right attitude, the positive, right intent to learn, basically, and to get through it. So hang in there, hang in there, go through the process. It'll be good.
So thank you, sir, for joining with us and giving your valuable time. I hope whether we will be available or not, but it's our invitation. So if you come back to Siliguri, just visit our college once again as a student and relive your old
Oh,
days.
definitely, right? I long to do that, but unfortunately, the visits are so short that I just don't manage to visit or plan it. But yeah, I do want to do that, and maybe the next time I'm in Siliguri, I'll come. Um, Hopefully this year. It was a good time, right? It's always good to talk to alumni. To talk to students, being an alumni, and share experiences. And it's not only about this session where we are available to talk. I just want to share through this medium that we are available, guys. Maybe sometimes we'll not be able to respond immediately because of all those things that are there,
Hmm.
but we are available. If you have anything, you have our number. You can get our number. You And even a number is not important, right? LinkedIn is there, Facebook, and whatever, right? You just reach out to us. We are available, and we also want to share our experience. We also want to see the students, get into the right places, because it's, after all, the same college which we got out from. And yeah, we want to reach out to people.
We can say the same tag as
Yeah.
SITs.
So
Okay.
of course, yeah, it was refreshing, yeah, to and thanks for inviting me, right? Thanks for inviting me to this, and thanks for your team who is
You-
taking this effort, right? Thanks to the department who is allowing you to do, or giving you an opportunity to do this. And yeah, it's a good thing that you're doing, actually.
I hope it was back on your like when you were in college. The club was there, I guess so, the Computer
Correct.
Engineer Society.
Yes.
But yeah, it's the oldest, I guess so now. It's the oldest one in the college.
It's really good.
We
Yeah, it's really good that, yeah, there are efforts in the right places. So yeah, yeah, it's good. Yep. It was a good discussion. Yeah.
thank you, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining with us and have a great day.
Yep.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Bye.